Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of our soup series. I have to tell you, I have been absolutely loving this series because at the end of every episode, I have a huge pot of soup to enjoy. So I have been eating a lot of soup lately, which is never a bad thing. So a few weeks ago, a viewer left a comment on the channel asking if I hated mushrooms. And I realized it's because I don't often share a lot of mushroom recipes. And it's really too bad because I actually love mushrooms. So I'm going to fix that with my tasty cream of mushroom soup. And I love this soup because it's so hearty and filling and really satisfying on a cold fall evening. For this yummy soup, I am getting started in a large Dutch oven. You could also do this in a soup pot if you wanted to. And I'm going to combine a little bit of oil with some butter. Now, we mix the oil and butter because the oil actually prevents the butter from burning, which is really important if you're going to be cooking things over a long period of time. Once that butter's gotten all hot and bothered, we can add our beautiful finely diced onion. And I'm also adding some finely diced celery. If you don't love celery, you can definitely leave it out of this recipe. It is not critical. Next, we're just going to let these veggies sweat a little over medium heat until they become soft and translucent. Then it's time to add our mushrooms. Now for this recipe, I'm using a combination of cremini mushrooms and white button mushrooms, but you can really use whatever type of mushrooms you love. I've just sliced them really thinly and then I'm going to toss them into the pot. They're all gonna shrink. Trust me on this one. Shrinkage, lots of shrinkage will happen. At this point, I'm also going to add a good helping of minced garlic and some salt and pepper. I'm going to saute this mushroom mixture over medium heat for between 15 and 20 minutes, or until my mushrooms release all their moisture. So almost all of our liquid has evaporated, and that means it is time to add our flour. Our flour is gonna help thicken up this beautiful soup, so we end up with something nice and rich and creamy. I'm going to let it cook for about a minute. This just removes that really floury flavor. Now it is time to add our red wine. If you don't drink or you're too young to drink, you could also do this with some chicken or some vegetable broth. Both would work just as well. And you just want to use your spoon to get up all of those delicious brown bits on the bottom of the pan, because you know where there are brown bits, there is flavor. Once my wine has reduced to about half, I'm going to add my broth and some fresh thyme. I'm going to bring this mixture to a boil and then turn my heat down to medium-low and let it simmer for between 15 minutes and 30 minutes. All right, so this beauty's been simmering away and it is ready for the finishing touch, which of course is cream, because it wouldn't be cream of mushroom soup if there wasn't some cream. I'm using heavy cream in this recipe. If you wanted to keep this on the lighter side, you could also do half and half or regular milk. Both would work, but the heavier the cream, the richer the final soup will be. I'm going to let this mixture simmer for another 5 minutes or so, and then it is ready to puree. You can either do this with an immersion blender or with a traditional blender. If you are doing it with a traditional blender, you want to use extreme caution. For a full step-by-step tutorial on how to blend things safely, I highly recommend watching this video. I've also included the link in the description box below. Now what I like to do for my cream of mushroom soup is actually just to blend 2/3 of the soup and to leave the last third unblended so you still get some nice, good chunks of mushroom in your final soup. At this point, this gorgeous soup is ready to serve. It can be eaten just as is, or it can be poured over chicken or pork chops for an incredible main dish. I really hope you'll give this tasty recipe a try, and if you do, be sure to tweet or Instagram me a photo, because you know I love seeing what you're coming up with in your very own kitchens. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to The Domestic Geek, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.